Welcome back everyone to theCUBE's live coverage here in San Francisco. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE. We got Dave Vellante, Jackie McGuire, John Olsek, the entire CUBE research team. Of course, we've got SiliconANGLE reporters out there getting all the top stories here in the security. A major inflection point is happening, or a moment in time where not only is it a systems revolution in AI infrastructure, it's really impacting up and down the stack. Security has always been the center of the conversations, whether it's infrastructure, data, but now with generative AI and with machine learning, a whole nother category. A new era is upon us in the security industry. It's a replatformization movement. I just wrote a research note on it, and here to talk about it is Anand Oswal, SVP and General Manager at Palo Alto Networks, which replatformed, I should say, or had a platform, they've been replatforming, that's their product. Anand, thank you for coming on theCUBE. Welcome back.
John, great to be with you.
I saw the interviews you've done before, and I know the conversation you had with Dave Vellante in New York just a couple weeks ago at your event with all your top customers and your team. Your CEO said to Dave privately, and he wrote about it, it's now in the public domain, best of breed was a thing, but as you look at all the complexity and the cost overruns, the plethora of tools, it's kind of being rethought. And so we started looking at this saying, customers are making big bets right now. They're replatforming their entire operations. They're looking at AI factories. They're rethinking how supercomputing is going to change their game. And then they have to usher in all this pressure, generative AI apps and the nirvana we're going to see, the future, intelligence. But at the end of the day, security is still game on, right?
Absolutely.
You guys are in the middle of it. I know you have a very strong opinion on this. So, okay, the airplane's at 35,000 feet in security. Engine's got to be changed out for a customer. Huge set of challenges, huge topic. This is pretty much the conversation here at RSA. We're already hearing it in the hallways. Yeah, there's all these issues. They're longest list than I've ever seen before in my 30 years. But specifically, rethinking security is top of mind. Your reaction to that?
Look, I mean, if you think of AI, if you just look at 10 months ago, we talked about seismic shift that AI was bringing to businesses, right? But a year, John, is a lifetime in the world of AI. Things are changing faster than ever before, right? And we announced some amazing innovations today. Let's break it down. If you think of AI, think of two broad use cases. First is your employees. All of them accessing Gen AI applications. They all want to be efficient, fast, they want to look good, they want to get their work done faster. Now, in many cases, IT is not aware of it. What organizations really want is that, do I have the right visibility? Can I control which applications are being used? And how do I protect the most important crown jewel, my sensitive data, right? So we launched that last year. Now, what we did this year is that we said, look, majority of these applications are getting access from the browser, right? The browser is the new workspace, and the browser is the prominent attack right now. So, consumer browsers cannot protect you from these. And let me give you examples. First is that the browser sees everything before encryption, right? So if you think about traffic that cannot be decrypted because newer protocols, or because you can't do it for business reasons or technical reasons, the browser sees them. There's also new kinds of threats, John. Threats like malware that we are seeing that are getting reassembled only in the browser, that evades traditional solutions.
Yeah.
So with Prisma AIRS browser, that's natively integrated into SASE, we can have safe and compliant usage of Gen AI applications. We can protect you from the advanced threats with our precision AI services. But that's not enough. What you really want is that you don't want to compromise your user experience, right? So we'll untether your web and SaaS applications for maximum performance. We'll reduce your reliance on this legacy VDI infrastructure, all by ensuring that every single application is consistently secure. So that's how you'll take care of the employees accessing Gen AI applications.
So what's, first of all, let's break that down because everyone can relate to this. Certainly COVID, we saw that, working at home. Now there's a whole mix of that. But what's the old way and new way? Break down what kind of goes away, what falls by the wayside, and what ushers in, what technology is ushered in.
So look, of course AI is a big technology that ushered in.
You mentioned
right?
VDI, that's specific to that,
but
right?
If you think of VDI, right?
Yep.
Customer had to choose between costly legacy architectures and really bad user experience, right? They got to be a better way, right? You want to have good user experience, but not compromising on security. So now when you have your applications that you want to remotely render, yes, you can still do some of them, but most of the applications today are web and SaaS applications. Yep. So I can provide you consistent best-in-class security. That's what we mean by getting in new technologies to solve some of these problems.
So I like that employee angle because now you got policy mapping from where the environment's controlled to the home as an example. What other innovations do you guys have with Prisma? Because now it's not just the employees, you now have no code, low code. You were talking before we came on camera, you're building agents. I mean, I could probably build, I haven't coded in 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean.
I just built mine 2 weeks ago.
Talk about the agent impact, because now you have stuff happening under the covers on
Yeah.
behalf of the users via the user experience prompts.
Yeah.
Now that reaches into the enterprise.
Yes. Look, every single business application in every single industry or category will be AI powered. There's no looking back on that. That's going to happen, right? But if you think about AI powered applications, right? Maybe you step back. Think of how applications were built once upon a time. A 3-tier architecture. You had a front end, you had a back end, which was called the application, and your database. Along came the cloud. What did the cloud do? It gave organizations the opportunity to modernize these applications using a microservices architecture, leveraging the cloud. Now, AI-powered applications are the third wave of application transformation. Because it's not just taking your application, taking your model and plugging it. You're bringing in an entire ecosystem. AI infrastructure, AI models, AI tools, vector databases. All of these components, John, they talk to each other. But they also talk to the outside world. It increases your attack surface, adding newer risks. So for example, you can do prompt injection attacks. I can fool the model to think UMI and get your data, steal customer data.
Yeah.
I can make the model deliver malicious code. I can do the data leaks. I can do model DOS attacks by a single query, making the model do things multiple times. So all of these new types of attacks have to be secured. Supply chain risks, configuration risks, and runtime risks.
Another one that comes up a lot is context poisoning,
Yeah.
prompt injections. This is kind of on the model side, so people think about the consumer experience. You mentioned people are using prompts in Gen AI. Okay, yeah, it's great for us, users, but now the impact of the infrastructure, what's the?
Actually, it is amplified. If you think of AI innovation is getting accelerated by the introduction of agents. Now, unlike large language models that give you answers, agents will give you action, right? And agents can reason, agents can act autonomously, agents can coordinate with other agents. We have newer protocols now. The model context protocol allowing easier communication with models and data. Agent-to-agent protocols that allow easy coordination of agents. And this brings in newer components. Agents have memory. What if I poison the memory to alter the behavior of the agent? What if I have excessive permissions? Because agents are doers, they act. And so all of this is causing the attack surface to increase that needs to have consistent, thoughtful security.
I like how you brought up policy in context to the browser feature and the SaaS thing, because policy consistency is cool, but now apply policy to agents. Now you almost have a rules of the road. You were using an example of your son getting his license on the road. We both have kids, and we know, anyone who's been a parent knows, they're going to go out on the freeway.
I mean, think of Waymo.
You got to get some time under your belt.
John, if you think of Waymo as an agent. Okay, it's making decisions autonomously. Deciding when to turn, when to not turn, what speed to go on.
Is that the best practice? Because I mean, like driving a car for a son or daughter, you sit in the co-pilot, you watch them, take the exit, slow down, break down. So until they get proficient, I mean, in networks, that's the way
100%.
Tends to roll out. Let's look at it, let's evaluate it, and then lock it in.
John, 100% right. And that's exactly why we introduced Prisma AIRS, the industry's most complete and most comprehensive AI security platform. Because what you really want is 5 key pillars. But before that, you need discovery. I want to know in my organization what apps are there, what agents are there, what models are these apps and agents connected to, what data is used to train these models, what are the things that are connected to the agents and applications, what permissions do I have. Once you have discovery, John, that's just the first part. Because that's like me telling you have a leak in the house. So what? Now I need to tell you the 5 pillars. First, model scanning. So if you think about traditional security, we scan code today, we scan infrastructure today. Now what's different for models? The difference in models is that it depends on the training data. It depends on model architecture. It depends on model behavior. Then you talk posture management. Now this cannot be just for the app. It's for the app, it's for the agent, it's for the network, it's for the model, it's for the data set. Once you do that, you have to do continuous red teaming. Now, agents are different than applications because they execute code, but they also relearn, act, react. So now I need to think about how the attacker will think. how does the model think? How does the model interact? And I need this autonomous.
Prisma AIRS brings up good points, and you brought up red teaming, because this comes up a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, security people love to break things, because they got to test
Sure.
it. Red teaming is a strategy now in the models, because you have to test the integrity of the agents.
Yes.
Is that basically the reason?
It's everything. It's also the model behavior, the model intent, the model interaction. Because once you do red teaming, then you roll this into production. And then you have to protect this application or agent from all the threats that you see in classical applications, but also the new runtime threats. What I talked to you, prompt injection attacks, model DOS attacks, malicious code generation, data leaks, memory poisoning, and so on and so forth.
Take me through some of the customer conversations you're having, because we're seeing from the research side, talking to CISOs and security practitioners and companies, they have a lot on their mind. They got to retrofit the infrastructure for AI supercomputing, which, oversimplifying, but think NVIDIA superclusters and AI factories. And the apps need to be high performance.
Yeah.
So data is a key part of that.
100%.
How is security adopting AI agents now? Is it practical? Are you seeing certain use cases where security folks that I talk to, when I say Gen AI, they all roll their eyes and they go, we're security people.
Yeah.
We treat it like just another app.
Yeah.
And that's oversimplifying, but that's the consistent answer. It's just another app to us.
Yeah.
Gen AI. Machine learning's been used in production all the time, but Gen AI, what's the AppSec review look like?
If you look at agents, right, we worked with OWASP to define multi-agent architecture, to define the threat modeling. The two biggest risks that AI agents will have will be, first, identity and permissions, which come in the posture category, and second, around when the agent running in action, the runtime threats for the real-time behaviors. So all these 5 pillars I talked to you have to be delivered consistently. What's happening is that when I talk to customers, they say, look, we have 3 different point products sometimes presented to us for posture, different products for model scanning, different products for red teaming. My runtime has 3 different things.
Yeah.
Like this cannot work. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
Let me say it directly. Like you can have mishmash of 10, 12 different point products to secure your AI lifecycle. You won't get it right. There's not enough skills and expertise available to understand them all, and they don't talk to each other. They don't share threat intelligence.
Dave and I were talking on our podcast last Friday and the Friday before about Palo Alto. I think it was 2 pods ago. Your market share, you guys are very successful, but still, there's a ton of market share you guys can take. You just acquired Protect AI, a bold start venture. Ed Sim likes to invest in multi-time entrepreneurs. So good team. We covered them, SiliconANGLE. Where does that fit in? Because that was, I think, the second largest M&A deal in the space.
So look, Protect AI is the leading startup in AI security. It's an amazing, awesome team. Ian Swanson and team and his entire team are just amazing. They built an incredible technology. And what we will do is that we will use what they have to accelerate our journey to secure the entire AI lifecycle. So it will be part of the Prisma AIRS platform in discovery, model scanning, posture management, red teaming, runtime security, agent security, all delivered comprehensively so that you can discover your entire AI ecosystem. You can assess all the risks in your ecosystem, and then you can protect, no matter what the situation will be.
What was attractive on that? Was it the scale up, speed? Was it the team? Was it the code?
I think it's...
What caught your eye on that? Because, they were known in the circles of entrepreneurs, but what jumped out?
Yeah, absolutely the technology, the people, and what they've built, right? Like that's, and it was a great culture fit. Like Ian and Badar and Sean and the team there, just incredible people to operate with. I've met them so many times right now. I think we are on a joint mission on how do we secure, how do we have our customers deploy bravely. That's what we're saying. We're going to deploy AI bravely because right now there's so much concern. Like you see, we have plethora of agent platforms, app platforms, and people are wondering, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
Like I can have these point products and piece it together. We want to have a comprehensive
It's
story.
like everyone's putting their kids on the road at the same time with no guardrails or rules. I'm riding on the left side. It's chaotic on the agent front.
Yes, it's...
What would they say if I asked the founders of Protect AI, what would they say to me if I asked them, why did you sell to Palo Alto? Because they were looking good off the tee. They were in the middle of the fairway, as
I think
they say.
they're on a mission, just like we are on a mission, to basically provide the world's best, the most comprehensive AI security solution. And they know that Palo Alto Networks and Protect AI, that partnership together will accelerate our customers' journey to provide them the best AI security solution in the industry.
You know, I have to ask you, because you have good pedigree in Cisco, you worked in companies, you've been in networks for a long time, you've seen the 90s wave, you saw what open systems interconnected, TCP IP changed the world, we all saw that. That spawned massive wealth creation, massive innovation. Now with Gen AI, it's almost a 100x kind of feeling. When you look at Palo Alto, knowing what you know, there's also a transformation, a digital transformation on what I call the classic enterprise. Network storage, compute, of course supercomputing. How do you see Palo Alto's replatforming or platform, you guys aren't replatforming, I should say, you have a platform while your customers are replatforming.
Yes.
What does it mean to them? What do you see? Connect the dots for us, because the world's going into a very fast cycle.
Yes.
Super cycle we call it. Dave and I both love that where we believe it's true, where the consequences for not building the right systems can be quantified, certainly on security. Never mind the enterprise.
100%. Look, why is every company building AI-powered applications? Because it's going to completely transform their business. It's going to change their whole P&L in some sense. It's going to give amazing new experiences to their customers. So this is a once in a lifetime or once in a generation type of transformation that we are seeing. Look, the adoption of AI is faster than any technology in history of the mankind. What we are focusing on, John, is to ensure that when employees are using AI applications, they can browse bravely with Prisma Access browser. When employees are building and deploying AI-powered applications, they can deploy bravely, because consistently they want to make sure that they're able to focus on what they do best and leverage the technologies to take care of themselves.
I was talking with Sanjay Poonen, who's the CEO of Cohesity. He's been on theCUBE 15 years now, and I'll get back on it, but he and I were talking, I want to get your reaction with your experience in integration. We were talking about that the integration task used to be very hard to do in the old days. Go back for old days, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. What is the key to integration? Because words like non-disruptive, seamless, it's not just APIs you're connecting with, you're actually connecting with engineered solutions. So ecosystems looking different, partnerships are looking different. What's different now as the leader, looking at the portfolio of what you're building? You got to scale.
Yep.
Everything's at scale.
Yes.
I mean, even open source, I interviewed a company, ChainGuard, they're solving a problem in open source because it's an at-scale problem.
Yep.
So a whole nother set of at-scale problems, opportunities exist. What do you see?
I mean, I'll give an example. We are today blocking over 31 billion attacks every single day. Billion, right? And that's probably more than doubled in the last year or so, right? And the reason it's happening is that because we're using the best of deep learning models to be able to look at structured, unstructured data, to look at threats that you have seen, known threats, but also unknown threats. And that's one aspect of what we talked about as scale. And that's using AI for security. And it's happening across every single facet of technology industry, and happening concurrently. It's just fascinating.
What's it like inside Palo Alto and your customers? Because when you talk about those numbers, it's kind of like, we've all grinded the old days. It's like, we blocked 10.
Yeah.
Now you're talking, the numbers are in the millions. What has AI done to the psychology of the practitioner and the engineer and the craft?
Look, if you think about traditional ways of providing detection, they're based on this notion of a signature or a database, right? So I see that you're infected by a certain type of threat, I learn about it, I build a signature, I push it. It used to take 2 days, maybe it takes 2 hours. That doesn't work. I got to protect you inline, real time. And that only happens when you're using these deep learning models that are able to look at structured, unstructured data and give recommendations. We have today 5,000 plus deep learning models, what we call part of our precision AI services, combination of machine learning, deep learning. We use Gen AI for variability to protect you from both known threats and unknown threats.
I love the platform strategy. The reason why I like it, and the reason why I wrote the post on replatforming era is that platforms have advantage, like an operating system. You can have subsystems that look like best of breed in a platform with highly cohesive, decoupled elements. This accelerates AI because agents can be protected. Some call it guardrails. I mean, I'm bullish on agents and security because in platforms, end-to-end constructs exist.
Look,
networks are end-to-end.
100%. Look, there's a report which said that 93% of enterprise companies will have agents in the next 12 to 18 months. 93%. Now, you can build agents on a plethora of platforms. You have SaaS platforms that you can build agents, no-code, low-code platforms, CSP providers. So you're right. There'll be a plethora of agents. Now, it may feel chaotic.
Yeah.
From a security perspective, what you really care about is two fundamental things. Do the agents, what identity and permission they have,
Yeah.
and what happens on runtime.
Yeah.
If you can, and that's what with Prisma AIRS we're solving.
Yeah.
If we solve those, then it makes it easy for you to deploy agents bravely.
I mean, AI runtime security by far is the hottest category, because, or capability.
It is.
Because that's, you're talking end to end. And the other thing network guys and security folks love, as you know, they love things to be locked and loaded, move on to the next thing. Rules of the road, talk about back to driving.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, let's just create roads, networks,
Yeah.
and figure out rules of engagement, protocols.
Actually, it's very different than security. If you think about security, it's a interesting situation. I have to be right every single time. The attacker has to be right once.
Yeah, yeah. That's where policy comes in.
Exactly.
All right, so I want to get to, I know we got time, we got a very busy schedule, but I want to ask you one entrepreneurial question. Obviously, we're both in Silicon Valley. New York's booming with entrepreneurship. There's huge startup ecosystem emerging, never mind the partner ecosystem, which we kind of talked about. In the old days, it was the startup beats the incumbent. It's slow, the battleship that can't turn. Some would call it the HPs and the Ciscos of the world. Now the incumbents are Google, Palo Alto, AWS, and others. So, and you got the big startups. It used to be, you know, war, take down the big guy, David versus Goliath. We were talking on our CUBE pod this Friday about this. I want to get your thoughts. For the first time in my career I've ever seen this, and you kind of highlighted with Palo Alto. Agility and speed is the name of the game. And if you have the data and the workflows, big companies can be just as fast as startups because of the ability to use the data and the AI. So that means if you believe that to be true, then the next step would be startups and big companies have to co-align. And so, okay, if you believe that to be true, then the next question is, first of all, we'll discuss if you believe that to be true. Then the third question is, okay, if that's true, the entrepreneurship equation comes into question. How do they succeed? Is it white spaces? Is it new markets? So take me through, I know it's a little bit complex, but do you agree that agility favors both?
I think I'll give you two aspects. It all depends on, of course, the company and all that. As
they
you
got to have a good
finally,
team.
at the end of the day, execution will beat strategy every single time, right? But I think in some cases, the bigger companies have an advantage. If they're able to move fast because of, if you look at customer problems, like customers are tired of these 23 different vendors, 80 different solutions to solve cybersecurity. They don't have enough skills, they don't have enough people, and they're not getting the outcome, right? So they're saying that, help me solve this for a platform. Look, cybersecurity is a 20-year-old industry, in some sense, right? So, for the first time, we're able to get these things, and it's not just point products delivered together. When I talk of platformization, it's a simple and unified workflow. When I talk of Prisma AIRS, it's not like I'm giving you model scanning, posture, risk, red teaming, and runtime as together. No, all is coordinated. I run the model, I look at posture, and the posture is network, application, data, model, agent. I run the runtime, and it's comprehensive. So, because you can run good AI when you have good data. Right? One advantage is that you have, as you scale, as you have a lot of data. So you're able to get better, faster.
I think the culture is huge, because if you listen to the customer and you're fast and you have a good culture for that, you can respond with the right product market fit if the market changes. Okay, check. I believe you, by the way. I agree.
I'll give you an example, just to see. 2 years ago, I think also Gen AI came in with ChatGPT, etc. Last RSA, we were the first companies to launch secure AI access and AI runtime. This is a large company innovating faster than most startups.
That's my point. Again, okay, I totally love that data. Thanks for sharing. Okay, now if you're going to give advice, mentoring, say I'm a startup founder, hey, Anand, take me, what's the white space? What should I do? My advice tends to be, find a white space. So now the exit strategy becomes, go big or go home used to be the way in Silicon Valley. Not many go big or go home opportunities. Enterprise is the hottest startup category right now. That's our world. What's your advice to start? Pick a white space, get bought by Palo Alto? I mean, because you're also a buyer growing organically. But inorganic, you just did a deal.
Yes, exactly. I think, look, the market demands us to move fast. Our customers require more comprehensive and complete solutions. So yes, there'll always be things that we can do to accelerate that journey or fill a gap. And that's what startups should look at.
I think Protect AI is a great example of the entrepreneurship equation, great exit, not a lot of upfront capital. So again, entrepreneurship is the same game, different playing field.
Yeah, exactly.
Anand, final word, what are you working on? What's your priorities? What's your focus? What's on your to-do list?
I think the The number 1, number 2, and number 3 priority for me is AI, right? How do I use AI for security? How do I build the best products to secure AI? How do I make sure that employees can use AI applications and browse bravely? How developers can build and deploy applications bravely. Because it's all going to be about AI and agents, and the world is changing at a very rapid pace.
I think Palo Alto, you guys have great human capital, great data, at scale. That's going to be gold mine for AI.
We've got to execute.
Well, thank you for coming on theCUBE. Great to see you again, CUBE alumni. Again, theCUBE, we're bringing all the data to you live in the open. I'm John Furrier, your host with Dave Vellante, Jackie McGuire, and John Olsek, extracting the signal from the noise here in RSA. Stay tuned for more coverage after this short break.